Vox, my 21st, I believe, rank 3 7-star. I finally got around to making the showcase. Vox is a really interesting character. I love using him for pretty much every game mode, from Alliance War to Battlegrounds to Epic of Pain type content. He goes everywhere. I really enjoy playing this character, as I've already said, and he's pretty strong as well. Vox is one of those characters where he feels insane for pretty much every game mode outside of maybe specifically BGs. And the only reason for that is because he takes a little bit more ramp up time than most characters do. So yeah, he's very strong. It's just if you are a BG's mainstay, I wouldn't recommend you using Vox over a bunch of other cosmics, because that is like the only game mode where he feels a little bit lackluster in. And even then, I run him in pretty much every meta because he's still a strong character for most tech threats. This is going to be one of the shorter showcases of mine, of recent, showcases. Mainly because I'm trying to make them a little bit shorter for some characters. Just because sometimes when people see like a 1-hour video, they are less inclined to click on it because they feel like they have to watch the whole thing to understand it. I put time codes in so where you don't need to know that at all, or watch the whole video at all. You can skip to where you want, but it's not always what people expect. So we're going to start against Winter Soldier. I don't even know how I managed to get hit by that special one. Guess I got Blexterity'd somehow, but that's bad timing on my part, I guess. But the basic Vox rotation is you're going to place degens with your SP1, then you want to consume the degens back into Intensifies before they expire with another special. Then your next special is going to place degens again, and you just do the same thing, where you place degens, consume them back, place degens, consume them back. That's your rotation. You just do that the whole fight. And the more aggressive you are during the generation phase, the more potent the degens are going to be. They always grow in potency over time, but the more you strike them with your scythe, the more damaging they are going to be due to Vox's Sig ability. They also scale with your current attack rating, so when you gain Furies, they're going to get stronger. Outside nodes, like if you're playing on Power Shield, the degens aren't going to do extra damage when you place them, but during the special attack then they will. So it's weird how his degens damage and timing function, but just know that they are very strong. So another really fun aspect of Vox's kit is the fact that his corrupted buffs have 300% ability accuracy. So Maestro, he's not going to be able to fail them with his glance, which is awesome. The only thing he can fail with his glance is the actual dexterity buff, like the yellow one, which is kind of stupid, because when glance triggers it, it doesn't turn into a ticking dexterity buff, which is, I don't entirely understand how that works, but glance is just somehow interacting with it. That's all I know. But this is from the Mixmaster meta from a little while ago. I don't remember exactly everything about what was on it, but yeah, just know that's what it is. And again, he's not the strongest BG's champ, so maybe I should have put the BG's fights a little bit later in the video so you could see some other stuff from him first, but there are going to be some specific matchups that I just want to show off because he's pretty fun for them, and Maestro is definitely one of them. So anyway, we're going to get this Maestro to die right here. We definitely took a little bit of radiation damage, but you know, that's a matchup that I do in other game modes pretty consistently, and even in BGs, I think it can go better than that one did, especially in a meta that isn't Mixmaster, where a lot of my hits aren't necessarily landing. Next, we're fighting Sentinel. I think this is a rank 2 Sentinel, but a rank 3 would die all the same, and you will be able to see that once you see how hard the degens are taking. And Vox is super good for Sentinel because the best way to fight Sentinel is with red numbers that are specifically damage over time, and then Sentinel is also immune to like 3 damage over time types, so it gets even more specific than that. He has his abilities similar to Serpent, where instant bursts of damage he's going to reduce the potency of, but for damage over time like Degeneration and like Incinerate, stuff like that, it doesn't count. So we're going to drop the SP2 here, and then we had like another 3 seconds of degens ticking that would have definitely killed a rank 3 and blasted right through his awakened ability as well, if that Sentinel is awakened. So rank 3 Sig 200, the fight ends all the same, just maybe like 3 seconds after because of the degens needing to tick a little bit more. So As of the time this video goes public, I think I uploaded this Thanos fight yesterday. This was really fun. One of the strongest things in Vox kit is when he can fight a champion who has a lot of projectiles from the dex. That is because he has a stacking dexterity buff. The reason you want this stacking dexterity buff is because the more precisions you get, the more degens you're placing on all of your special attacks. And if you're fighting projectile specials, then you're going to get more opportunities to dex within a certain amount of time. Like there, I could just very easily, without having to put a lot of effort into it, get 9 precisions before dropping my first special one. And that's exactly how you want that to go. So, I think I tried to do a medium there to counter a special, and then like my finger slipped or something, but we ended up getting the degens back consumed anyway. And now I have a lot of buffs where the degens on this next cycle are going to be like twice as potent because we have twice as many. Funny how things work out that way. And we're going to drop the special one here. The protection's going to trigger, but that's okay because I'm not even going to hit him for the rest of the fight. I'm just going to let him degen out. I don't need to hit him. I know those 45 are going to do enough damage. Again, the more aggressive you are with Vox, the more potent your degens are going to be while they are ticking. But I knew I'd have enough damage without actually needing to do that to where it wouldn't matter. Now it's time to fight an Arcade. When Arcade came out, Vox was pretty much always the best counter to him, and now that Arcade's an even better defender, Vox is still that cheat code. Because the main way to shut off Arcade is by having an Undermine. If you have Undermine, Arcade physically cannot auto-block. That means you're not going to be getting any shocks on you. You're not going to be getting parried, obviously. And overall, it's just a pretty good time. So we're also immune to poison, so we don't even need to worry about the cloud. And if he gains a few tokens just because of me being in the cloud, if we have Undermine, then it doesn't really matter. So anyway, we're going to place our initial set of degens, going to get a little pause there. Also, I had no idea how my light attack actually landed there, but that was kind of cool. Just keep dexing Arcade's special attack properly, and then ideally kill him with this degen cycle, which we do just at the tail end of it. And yeah, I mean, he's just really, really, really good for Arcade. We're going to see more nodes where I fight Arcade later in this video as well. So next up, we're fighting a rank 3 SIG 200 Thing. Thing is obviously a very tanky fella, but if you're using red numbers, that is kind of his weakness. Very, very similar to Sentinel. You can take Thing with virtually any champ, but the ones specifically that you don't want to use against Thing are ones who have like very large yellow numbers or something, because then you're going to trigger his protection, and we all know how annoying Thing's protection is, because specifically when you're fighting a SIG 200 Thing, like I am, he might take like no damage from your hits. And also his AI sucks here. What the heck? Okay, he finally threw the special. Did get some more dex buffs, so that's a little bit of a positive. We can get 20 degens on the first cycle, and then we want to play pretty aggressive during the degen phase as usual, but that's a little bit difficult because we do need to deal with Thing doing things. But luckily, we got a little pause there from Vox's SIG ability. Another aspect of his SIG ability, other than the whole your scythe hits will increase the potency, that was also bad user error right there, is the fact that whenever the opponent goes unstoppable or unblockable, or you hit their block the first time in a degen cycle, he's going to pause his degens for, I believe it's between like half a second and 2 seconds, which in other words is within 1 or 2 extra ticks of degens basically. So that's a lot of extra damage when you add it up, and obviously it scales with your SIG. Like mine is only SIG 69, so he's not going to have the longest pause, but it's still going to be a lot in the grand scheme of things, because that's kind of just how Vox's degens work. They start out small, but then they get really, really, really potent, and then just like 4 extra ticks is like over 75,000 extra damage. So yeah, they become very strong. Now we're fighting this Ultron. I don't remember what the nodes were. I think I showed them at the start of the fight, but I genuinely wasn't looking at my computer when that happened, so as long as you guys know, I guess. All I know is that Vox, he does some damage. So we're going to have a pretty decent time fighting this guy. I don't know where these evades are coming from. Did he have his evade passive up there? And I just didn't notice it. I'm not sure. Either way, we're going to go for this special 2 here, and then Ultron's not going to die because there's an indestructible node. That's super cool. Otherwise, he would have died, definitely. And there, I got evaded, but that's whatever. We just need this indestructible to go out, go for the special 1 here, place some more degens, and that's gonna, finish the job in just a moment or so. There he goes, down right there. And then next up, we are fighting Arcade on node 44 in Alliance War. I think this was an in-season war, so we are boosted. And this is a pretty fun one, because if you don't know how Arcade works, it's not only when his personal poisons would trigger that he gets a token, but it's also when a poison from anywhere else, such as Hazard Shift, triggers that he's going to get a token. So that means that you basically, if you hit him at all during the poison phase, you're going to start sacking up his tokens, which is pretty bad for most characters, because then he's just going to be auto-blocking like crazy, and he shuts off True Accuracy, True Sense, that kind of stuff that would normally prevent auto-block. So, the way we have to beat him is with Undermine, and the only great champion who is also poison immune and has Undermine is Vox. So he's just kind of like the perfect option for this fight, which is great, because if you're the perfect option for something in Alliance War, that means you just are guaranteed to be useful. So, anyway, this Arcade is going to melt really fast now. I think this last set of degens is going to basically bring him to a KO. Incinerate phase is active, but it's alright, because he's just dead. And yeah, that's a really, really clean Arcade fight. And we're going to move on to an off-season fight this time. This is against a Sentinel War boss. So we already saw Sentinel and BGs. Now let's see a Sentinel that has 1 million health. Yes, 1 million health. I'm going to be using a combat regen boost because it's off-season war and my Vox is at low health. So considering I think I might have had some that were going to expire that I hadn't claimed yet, I'll just go ahead and use one instead of using potions. And basically, considering the Sentinel has like 1 million health, that means the fight's going to last long enough to where he's just kind of guaranteed to get into his analysis complete phase, because it's almost impossible to stop that when you're in a fight that's going to last as long as the Sentinel is, because again, 1 million health is quite a lot. And we're just going to deal with it. Like, it's not that big a deal that he's in analysis complete, because the armor rating and crit resist he gets, it doesn't really matter, because Vox is doing numbers in red. I don't know how I took those hits there, but just user error probably. And we're just going to consume those degens back and not get hit again, hopefully, for the rest of the fight. His specials are cheaper, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because that's more opportunity to gain dex buffs and place more degens on each cycle. I'm going to try my best to get to like 1.9 bars of power, and then drop my special 1. All these extra resistance passives he's getting from the War Boss node doesn't really matter, because again, we're just going to be placing degens. Oh my gosh, that was insane. He just charged his heavy out of nowhere, and I thought I was going to get hit there, but I didn't, so that's nice. Anyway, we're going to consume the degens back real quick, and we didn't kill him on that cycle, but that's okay. He didn't get the armor phase yet, which is good. He also has Energized, which we are going to have to deal with, but we've been doing fine so far, so I think we'll be okay. I do need him to drop a special here. He doesn't, so I'm like, okay, really? You really didn't drop the special? But that's why we run invul boosts in Alliance War, which I didn't do there because it's off season. But yeah, that could have been really, really sad ending because he just wanted to be passive. Anyway, we're gonna fight an Arcade War boss now, which is like the same thing as the other arcades we saw again, but with a higher health pool. So a little bit of a different rotation. because we want to get an initial set of degens going and then consume them back so that the set of degens that are ideally going to kill are much more potent. And just like how we were having a fun time fighting Thanos because of the amount of projectiles to Dex in his special, that's going to transpire to this arcade as well, because in his special one you should be getting 4 Dexes, because the cloud attack and then 3 from the beam. So I mean, it's possible to get 5, I guess, but not even going to worry about that. So here he's going to drop a special 2. That's going to give him 3 tokens pretty much no matter what at the end of the attack, but arcade can't auto block if we have Undermine. So we have 2 Undermines now, which doesn't really mean anything because it's indefinite and there's not a benefit from having multiple. But 2 Undermines is even cooler than 1, right? So anyway, if Arcade ever shows up as a war boss in season, which I kind of suspect he will, because I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of tactic defenders on the boss node this season, I'm taking it with my box. Like, just flat out I'm taking it with my box. And what would have been even cooler is if I had a rank 4 box, because if I got Cosmic from Epic of Pain, I would have rank 4 box, which would have been even more nightmarish for any arcade war bosses that we'd have seen. But he's not, but who cares, because rank 3 Vox kind of cooks, as I hope this video is showing to you. So I'm going to go for the kill right here, because I know I have the damage to do it, and that arcade is just dead. So okay, next fight is very interesting because we're going to be doing something that I haven't talked about yet, and that is using Vox's pre-fight. The Never Back Down pre-fight, which, flat out, I'm telling you right now, don't use this. This is a terrible pre-fight. It makes baiting specials nearly impossible and flat out just kind of sucks. But I'm doing it here because the goal for this fight is to kill in 1 degen cycle, so I need to stack as many dex buffs as possible. As you're going to see here, when we dash back, we don't go backwards really, except for like a 1/10 of what a normal character would dash back. And again, I'm doing this because I need dex buffs, because I need to kill in 1 degen cycle. That's the only reason I'm using this pre-fight. Don't ever use it outside of maybe this fight, or if you just really want to for some reason. Anyway, we're going to go for the special 1 here, and then that's going to place my degens. 27 of them. Hopefully that's enough to kill in 1 cycle, because otherwise I'm going to eat Vision's special 3, and that's going to be lights out for me. So ideally that doesn't happen. Anyway, he's at 61% right now. I'm feeling kind of optimistic. We're going to go for the special 2 here, lock in those degens, and he's actually going to be at 7% still. So I'm like, okay, please don't throw it, please don't throw it, please don't throw it. Double heavy, special 1 into his block, which causes him to be aggressive, and then I can kill him in the block right here. So yeah, no, it doesn't work. You can't kill in like 1 degen cycle. Probably, unless you play it even better than I do, or actually, if you have a higher Sig Vox, you could, because a higher Sig Vox would have killed in that 1 degen cycle. So, yeah, I won that fight out of sheer luck, but it was funny, so I included it in the video anyway, and now I'm going to make sure to turn Never Back Down back off, because I don't want to use it again. So, now we're going to fight this MCoC, another decent showing of his Undermine, because Undermine is just a cheat code. It's not like other abilities where you can shut off auto block by ability accuracy reduction. Well, some characters are immune to ability accuracy reduction. You can shut off true accuracy and true sense with some characters, and some nodes have ability accuracy reduction against that, or they just kind of turn those nodes off. Undermine just has no counter. Like, it counters auto block, and the only thing that can stop Undermine is if there's just like some buff removal, because there's currently no nodes and no character abilities that are reducing the ability accuracy of Undermine, and frankly I don't think that's ever going to happen, because I think they want Undermine to be a mechanic that kinda is just the cheat code for a lot of characters. Because if you look at the characters with Undermine, off the top of my head, it's Vox, Gore, Scream, and Super Skrull. These are 4 characters who, frankly, are not the most popular, outside of maybe Scream. I think they want to keep Undermine incredibly valuable to make use for these characters who don't get played that often, and not introduce a lot of counters for it. I think Undermine's going to be just the go-to for auto block for a lot of nodes coming in the future, rather than true accuracy or ability accuracy reduction. So anyway, just a little observation that I felt like talking about. Now we're going to fight Weapon X. This is just a large Weapon X. He doesn't really have any nodes. I think he's going to gain extra regen rate, which for a character like Vox, who is red numbers, it doesn't really matter because he can't regen red numbers. He only regens what he took from getting hit. So it's just a big Weapon X. So let's just watch Vox handle this big Weapon X. One thing that I do like about this Weapon X, and just some characters versus Weapon X in general, is Weapon X is super aggressive during his Berserk mode, and some characters want to play very aggressive. Vox is absolutely no exception. The more aggression of the defender and the attacker, just the better, because you want to be spamming your hits as often as physically possible to keep increasing the potency of your degens as they tick. So yeah, Vox definitely loves that. That's another reason I took this fight with Silver Sable for my Silver Sable showcase, which was pretty silly if you ask me, but it was a fun time. There, he just kind of walked up to me and he didn't do the corner decks that I thought he was going to let me do. But that's whatever. We can still place degens on the SP2, because Vox's special attacks, or his special 1 and 2 specifically, do the exact same thing, where it's just place degen, consume degen. The only difference is that for your specific utility buff, special 2 is Vigilance, special 1 is Undermine, which are both good at countering a lot of tech threats. More recently and more commonly Undermine, which is why it's better on Vox's SP1. It's more easily accessible, but there are some tech threats that make the Vigilance more useful for, such as like Guillotine 2099 is the first one that comes to my head. Prowler is another good example of that, where having that Vigilance is really good. And you can also have the Undermine and the Vigilance up at the same time. You just need to alternate Special 1 and Special 2, ideally. So, anyway, now we're going to fight Thing. Same thing we fought in Battlegrounds, except this one's a lot larger. So, I feel like I've used that excuse a lot. I'm sorry if that kind of bothers you that I'm fighting a lot of the same defenders, but again, I wanted to make this showcase a little bit shorter than normal, so I didn't go out of my way to get some other fights that I might have gotten for a longer Vox showcase. I just want to show some of the basic stuff, some of the basic things I think Vox is strong at, and some of these defenders are just that. I could have taken him to like story quests or stuff, but I didn't think I needed to. And yeah, we're just going to keep this video a bit shorter. So, I'm going to consume the degens back with my extra SP1 there. Need to make sure to keep up with Thing's rock stacks. As a reminder, Vox's special 2 is 5 hits and his special 1 is 4 hits. So, depending on what relic you're running, it's either 2 or 3, or I think Black Panther is 4 hits. Just a little bit of math there. Relic cheat code math, I guess. I don't know. I think Ms. Marvel is 3, the one I currently have. So, anyway, that helps for fighting Thing if you know how many hits are on your specials and relic, obviously. So, this Thing is either really aggressive or really passive, depending on what phase he's in of this Oscillate node, because it's either an armor or a fury. Armor is going to give armor and crit resist, obviously. The fury is going to give attack rating, and yeah, he's gonna not die because he's gonna be stuck at 1%, and I can't really hit him at that second, but then we can kill him. Alright, the final fight of this video is gonna be a super fun one against Cerastes in 8.3. I checked speedrun.com for MCoC after this, and I was in like the top 10 fastest Cerastes solos with this Vox fight, so that's pretty cool, I guess. But Vox is genuinely really good for this fight. If you don't know how to fight Cerastes, or it's just been a really long time, because trust me, for me it was a really long time as well, he has 3 armor types. You want to remove them one at a time, or perform an action one at a time to remove them. And the actions are knockdown, hit block, and use relic. And you don't want to repeat these, but every time you do them, you're going to remove some of his armor rating, basically. And then once all 3 of them are down, he's going to be wounded. So yeah, he's going to gain an auto block passive after his special 1, and obviously one of the things to remove his armor is by hitting block. However, if you broke the auto block basically by using an undermine, or maybe the true buffs as well, then it's still going to count as hitting block. So that's just a nice little bonus for undermine characters. And yeah, it's just about doing that, getting him wounded, doing a crap ton of damage during the wounded phase, because you're going to see, like, the degen ticks are complete insanity. And what do you know, he's got a lot of projectiles in his specials, so Vox absolutely loves that, right? Now I need him to drop a special, not into me, ideally, but there I get to hit his block. I'm going to go for the relic, going to go for the special 1 as my knockdown, place the degens. Now I can play super aggressive, obviously, because he's wounded, he can't do anything about it. And just watch how hard these degens are going to tick eventually. We're doing 150,000 damage per tick right there. And then we're going to consume the degens back, get myself into the next phase. And here, I need to go for the intercept. We have both an undermine and a vigilance active right now, which we don't need the vigilance for anything, but the undermine is certainly cool. And here, gonna go for the special 1, knockdown, and look at that, he's already wounded again. So that was super quick and easy. And let's just get him into that final phase. As you can probably tell, this is one of the fastest axe bosses, I guess like 8.4 and later, these corrupted bosses ever. This is one of the fastest solos for those fights, which Cerastes is definitely one that's gonna generally be the fastest you solo. Taking, what's the Citalis, the 8.11, is also a very fast fight generally. Bahamut usually takes a while, Glycon takes a while, and Orochi takes a while. But Cerastes and Citalis usually are kind of faster, and even then, this Vox fight just went super, super fast. So anyway, the way to kill him is by hitting his block with your light attack, which we do right there, and then he is dead. So anyway, that was a really fun fight. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this Vox showcase. I have a lot of other Vox content on my channel, which is another reason that I didn't necessarily make this showcase insanely long. So I'm sure you can find so many videos if you just search Grassum COC Vox. And yeah, I hope this was I don't even know what I'm saying. Enjoyable is the word I was looking for you. And I will see you in the next video.